Nothing quite like it, is there? Really is nothing quite like that.
A testimonial hangs on the website footer of Royal West Norfolk, which captures the essence of the course perfectly. If you don't like this place, you don't like golf.
Well, today we're going to play Royal West Norfolk, aka Brancaster. And if you get a really, really high tide, which I think we might have timed well, it only happens a few times a year where it's this high, the course is going to completely fill up out around the turn. The holes are going to look more like TPC Sawgrass than they're going to look like Royal West Norfolk. And it's been a life goal for a while. So, but what a day. I love this place. Came down here last year for a few days and it's just the best. Yeah, you've been here, you came here with me over 2 years ago.
Yeah. It's a very cool experience. It's a place that's pretty cool when the tide is out, let alone when the tide is in. I haven't got any gloves, so that's good.
You're going gloveless?
I haven't got a glove.
How's the jet lag treating you?
The back of a 7 or 8 day stint in America, straight off a plane, 2 warm-up swings. Just try not to fuck this up. Just on the right, I'll be okay. That was a stiff one.
Among the treasures of English seaside golf, Brancaster possesses an unmissable charm, a magical quality that sets it apart from most. First glance, it might seem like many ancient links, but there's something about Brancaster that strikes a chord with almost everyone who walks through those gates. The sleeper-faced bunkers, the ever-present possibility of being cut off from the mainland, and the quiet solitude that creates an atmosphere both haunting and peaceful. The club was founded in 1891, like many of the clubs in that era, having discovered land perfectly suited to the rapidly growing game. Permission was sought from the landowner, the constitution was drawn up, and the club was born.
Completely underwater in about an hour. All this whole area, I think, in about an hour's time. I mean, you can see the water line back there is where the shells have come in.
Yeah, where that
So it comes up
lighting is and all that.
here where this darkness starts.
So
Wow.
that's the sort of mainland in the distance. And you get completely switched sort of shut off from it. So certain times you can't drive into the golf club or exit the golf club if the tide's in. And that's a pretty common occurrence. This would be crazy to see what this looks like when it's locked off.
Yeah.
I love this par 3. I mean, the sleeper faces. Don't know whether they've taken inspiration from Pete Dye or what. But last year I played in the Grafton Morris, which is a foursomes match play event. This is 124 yards, I mean a gap wedge. And last year I watched 3 groups. None of them were able to reach with 3 iron or 5 wood. The wind was that strong in. And you get that kind of really strong breeze off the coast. And then when we came down here last, I seem to remember it was the coldest I've ever played golf in. This is by far and away the best weather I've ever had here.
What's the carry on that? So this is the famous 8th hole. It's got this kind of carry over. There's marshland, which later on, in about an hour or so, will be completely flooded, and we'll come and film it again. It's 170 over that. Yeah, it's starting to now.
Like back in the day with hickories, this would have been this would have been unfathomably difficult. You know, even if you're teeing off a bit further over there, but it stands to reason you'd tee off there. All carry over the marshland. Like even today, just getting on in 2 is not easy.
Shot.
I don't know if it's too far left. Because it kind of, the fairway goes up in an angle.
Yeah, it's a really hard fairway.
So you can't hook one onto it. You've got to hit a proper golf shot. And you can be completely left out.
I think the thing that makes Brancaster so unique is the way the tide interacts with the whole course. When the tide comes in, the 8th, which is this par 5 with an island fairway, and then you have to kind of go over the water again, walk this bridge, get onto this green, becomes a very different prospect. Although you're playing over marshland, which is red staked anyway. Playing this now, it's got a fairway that is basically isolated in the sea, and then as you play the tee shot, the fairway cambers from left to right, and it angles from left to right. So if you're a right-hander playing this hole, there's nowhere to really hit it. You've got to kind of fade one onto this fairway if you're going to hold it. If you draw one into this fairway, you'll find that it doesn't really hold the fairway. It's quite a narrow fairway, so you have to fade one onto that fairway, or just be very, very accurate with a long iron to hold that fairway. And then, depending on how safe you've been, leaves a big carry onto the green, which you can see there. You can bail out left and play onto the 11th fairway, and then play up to the 8th green. But terribly difficult golf shot for when this course was first made. And then that's backed up with the equally as famous 9th. Now you cross a bridge from the 8th green and walk across the bridge to the tee box at 9th, and you've got to tee over again over the water that's coming in high tide.
So cool. So cool, this.
Which kind of leaves you with a more generous tee shot for 9, but you can't bully the hole, because through the fairway again is more water that's come in as the tide comes up, which leaves the green basically an island green. You end up with this sawgrass looking green. I mean, way before sawgrass sits out there, that demands 2 very, very precisely struck iron shots. You need to kind of get yourself onto that fairway, and it's going to leave you anything between 190 and probably at its closest about 110. But it's an intimidating tee shot, because again the fairway moves from left to right. You can't draw one onto there all too easily. And once you've navigated the tee shot, again you've got, depending on how far you've laid back and how the wind is playing, often the wind is howling in off the ocean, which is in 2 out the left. You're going to be left with anything from a 4 iron up to a pitching wedge. Wonderful hole that, if you get the chance to play Brancaster at high tide, it's just an amazing transformation from this marshland that is ordinarily, you could walk through it. You can walk through an hour before, you can walk through an hour later, and you kind of get these 2 holes in 8 and 9 that become just wonderful isolated fairways, isolated greens, and just one of the most magnificent sights you can see in British golf. And as you can see, the whole of the course suddenly becomes enshrouded in the sea. It laps up against the dunes on the left of the outward side of the course, on the right of the inward side of the course, but all the way, the marshland on the other side of the fairway all suddenly becomes enclosed as well, and you're playing on a tiny slither of land. And as you can see, the road on the way to the clubhouse becomes flooded. Canoeists can canoe down the road. If you are too early or too late, you are not getting into the golf club. You are not entering or leaving while the high tide is in. a very, very unique part of Brancaster, which makes it stand out amongst all the Great Links, Great Britain and Ireland. The following words in the Country Gentleman's Journal in 1892, written by Holcomb Ingleby, sum up the links of Brancaster neatly. The links are on a stretch of land of true golfing quality, composed of springy turf, intersected by sand bunkers and gullies formed by the encroachment of the sea. They have been laid out under the supervision of Mr. Horace Hutchinson, comprising 18 holes. Every golfer who has seen them confirms the opinion that, with little judicious cutting of bunkers, they will in every respect vie with the famous links of Sandwich and Westward Ho.